Hello. Yeah, it's good afternoon right now. It's almost good afternoon. Welcome to the class, Chandra Mohan.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Nice to see your face. How are you?
Fine, sir.
You were there in the last class, right?
Yeah, I was there in the last class.
समझ में आया था?
सर थोड़ी दिक्कत हो रही थी एक्चुअली न्यू टॉपिक था इसके सर
हाँ, न्यू टॉपिक तो है ये, तो इसीलिए हम स्लो जा रहे हैं. जो हम नॉर्मली एक क्लास में खत्म करते हैं, I will take about 3 classes. So
ओके
the,
सर
slowly 3 to 4 classes लगाएंगे. तो
सर देयर इज a question that whether can I find the PDF of the sheets which you are just taking in the class.
वो आपको डैशबोर्ड पे, you will get them on the dashboard.
Sir, actually we are able to find only the live recording, not the PDF of the PPT.
Yeah, the problem is of late, yeah, we are facing a little problem because a lot of our staff is infected with COVID.
Okay.
तो उसके चलते थोड़ा सा गैप हो गया है between posting things on the dashboard.
Okay.
बट अभी आपको थोड़ी देर दिनों में 1-2 दिन में नोट्स भी मिल जाएंगे एथिक्स के ऊपर.
अच्छा.
हमारी दूसरा कोई बना रहा है नोट्स जिससे कि आपको थोड़ी सुविधा हो जाएगी. Don't worry, it'll give us a little time so that because of COVID situation, it's a little be somewhat beyond our control right now. So although we did say that we give you those things, but there is a delay. This is for everyone. So don't lose hope and don't feel that you are short charged on that count. Because COVID, we have a little issue. Many of our staff are down, even some of the faculties, and many others are doubling up for them. So we are trying our best to make the best of this situation, which is so bad, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, now Akansha is new, Rujuta is new, Aman Pardesi, Debamit Smita. So can we have a little word of introduction before we start the class from our newcomers? Rujuta?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little about yourself. Introduce yourself to the class.
Yes. So my name is Rutuja Kharat. I am from Aurangabad and I have done my graduation in BSc Bioinformatics. I gave my this year's RBI grade B attempt.
How was it? How was that?
Yeah, it was good. Like I just started for its preparation just before 15 days. So now this time I have to prepare well.
Okay, and now you're applying for SEBI also?
No, only RBI grade.
Only RBI, very focused girl. Only RBI, nothing short of RBI she wants. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm also preparing for UPSC exam.
Okay, so there is this dilemma, moral dilemma or ethical dilemma.
Yes.
Yes, Aman. Thank you, Rujuta.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir,
you can come on the screen, no issues.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Aman, and I have done electrical engineering, and I'm currently working. And also,
electrical engineering from where?
Sorry, sir?
Electrical engineering from where?
So it's Vishwakarma Government Engineering College in Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
Ahmedabad, okay.
Yeah. And also simultaneously, I was preparing for common admission test, TET. And this year I have got 97% in that, and also got the call from major IIMs. But currently I'm also focusing on the RBI grade, if not getting a convert from good college this year. So I'll be totally preparing for RBI grade.
Okay, very nice. Welcome to the class, Devushmita.
Good afternoon, sir. This is
Devushmita
Shah Hajra. I am from Durgapur, West Bengal. I am currently a post-graduation student of history from University of Calcutta.
History?
Yes, sir.
Good to see somebody studying history in these days. Everybody is into engineering and engineering.
Yes, sir.
And engineering. I find almost 99% students are engineers. So which history? Medieval, modern?
Modern history.
Modern history. So
yes.
That is post-independence?
Actually, sir, our syllabus has changed a bit. It's a modern history, but we still study about ancient history as well as archaeology.
Oh, you study ancient also?
Yes, ancient, medieval, archaeology, all streams. It's an all-inclusive course.
What is your area of interest?
My areas of interest is warfare of World War.
Okay, modern history.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So welcome to this class. And Manpreet, you were there last time. I remember your name. Manpreet, can you hear me? You were there last time. Priyam, good morning.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. You were there last time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how much of the matter has been absorbed that we studied?
एक्चुअली सर मैं लास्ट क्लास ना अटेंड नहीं कर पाई थी आपका ना पूरा क्लास अटेंड नहीं किया था मैंने
क्यों, क्या हो गया?
देयर वाज अ रीजन
Acha, okay. So you thought you can, of course, take it from the dashboard, perhaps.
यस सर
Okay, Gaurav, good morning. Now I can say good afternoon, Ninad and Tanya and Hemant, Aditya. So many of you, good afternoon, Mauli. So, yes, Babli, this is your first class? Though you were there in some class, Babli name is familiar. I think you were in the English class. Babli, आप अंग्रेजी की क्लास में थी?
No, ethics class. Yes, English class में थी. Ethics का ये मेरा first class है.
ये हम कह रहे हैं कि आपको हमने इंग्लिश की क्लास में आपसे चर्चा करी थी और एथिक्स की आपकी ये पहली क्लास है.
हाँ.
राइट.
Yes sir.
तो
So इसके आप जो पहली का क्लास कराए थे ethics का वो कहाँ होगा recording?
हाँ, वो रिकॉर्डिंग आपको डैशबोर्ड पे मिल जाएगा. अपना जो डैशबोर्ड है, हम लोग जैसे ही क्लास समाप्त करते हैं, we immediately send this presentation to the office, the backup, and they put it on the dashboard.
Okay sir. Thank you.
Okay. आशीष, मेरी भी क्लास है, आपकी भी पहली है? Ashish?
Yes, sir.
You were there in the English class, right?
Hello. No, sir, this is my first class.
Your first class. Where have you been all this while?
Yes, sir.
Where have you been all this while? So, guys, those of you who are new to the ethics,
Sir, आज ही मैंने hello.
हाँ, बोलिए.
आवाज सर मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
सर, this is my first class. आज ही मैंने ज्वाइन किया है.
Okay. Very
और
good.
मैं महाराष्ट्र से हूँ, अमरावती से.
Aurangabad, Amravati. So we have all. Yes. RBI aspirant. RBI के लिए आप कोशिश कर रहे हैं?
Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir.
Okay.
मैंने लास्ट टाइम दिया था अभी 2020 में. 2020 वाला, तो उसमें मुझे मेरे ख्याल से 28 मार्क्स थे और कट ऑफ 60 अबोव था, आई थिंक मेरे ख्याल से.
थोड़ा मेहनत ज्यादा करना पड़ेगा. You'll have to.
बहुत ज्यादा अंतर से रह गया था.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so अभी आप you're doing our classes and we hope that you will benefit out of these classes. So also Ashish, this is your first class, and so
Yes,
also
sir.
is Hemant's first class. Hemant, you are new for FCI, okay? And Rupesh, मैं रशिया से हूँ, मतलब आप रशिया में बैठे हैं? रुपेश राज?
सर इसकी हार्ड कॉपी तो मिलेगी ना?
हार्ड कॉपी माने PDF वर्जन, yes.
हाँ सर, बस सर.
And Dheeraj is from Maharashtra, and of course our Russian friend doesn't want to talk. Tanya's first class also, ethics first class. Yes, Sandhya's first class on ethics. So now I think I should start the class because we always run short on time. But for those of you who are coming for the first time in the class, Gaurav also is there for the first time. Rishabh is also there for the first time. Why I emphasize on knowing students in the first class, Rupesh Raj, it is not that we can discuss these things later. I would like to know who are the students, what is their background, what is their level, whether they understand English, whether they understand Hindi, or I can do a mix of both. Okay? So this is very important for my class to know my students before I begin. It's not a priority that इसको बाद में करा जा सकता है, ऐसा नहीं है. What I'm trying to say is that those of you who are coming into this class for the first time, you will be at a little disadvantage because we've already started the class. We spent about an hour and a half last time covering 2 topics of ethics. So you will have to pick up those things from the dashboard. Now, anybody who feels that he is not following English at some point and wants to me to describe that in Hindi, please let me know. Bubbly, Ashish, I know there are issues sometimes.
सर
Yes.
सर थोड़ा बहुत मतलब इंग्लिश में समझ आ ही जाता है मुझे, पर कुछ कुछ समझ नहीं आता, तो आप बता सकते हैं ऐसा?
हाँ, वो हम कोशिश करेंगे. असल में वो फ्लो होता है ना, तो थोड़ा सा उसमें.
और एक बात पूछनी थी, चैट कैसे ऑफ करते हैं? चैट जो है,
बोलिए.
ये चैट जो है मेरे स्क्रीन पे, इसे ऑफ कैसे करते हैं?
उसको क्लिक कर दीजिए चैट को, स्विच ऑफ चैट, कम टू द मेन स्क्रीन.
नहीं सर, उसको क्लिक किया तो वो राइट हैंड साइड पे पूरा वो ऐसा शो करता है, इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ मैं. पूरी तरह ऑफ नहीं होता क्या ये?
हो जाता है, हम तो ऑफ कर देते हैं. क्लोज, उसको आप देखिए लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे एक एरो सा होगा, उस पे लिखा हुआ है क्लोज. सो यू क्लिक ऑन दैट, आपकी चैट बंद हो जाएगी.
अच्छा ठीक है सर, ठीक है सर, आप स्टार्ट कर दीजिए सर, मैं कर दिया हूँ.
सर मुझे दिक्कत नहीं है, इंग्लिश आप जैसे भी पढ़ाए समझ आता है मुझे.
Okay, thank you for that. So let's begin the class then by sharing.
So shall we make the notes while you are teaching?
That's
Yes, sir.
that is your choice. But since the same thing is, it's always good to make some points, some notes you should make.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
So is it fine if I have not seen your first lectures video, but I have some basic idea about ethics subject?
I'm sorry, your voice is a little muffled.
So is it fine if I have not watched your first lectures video?
Come again?
Is it fine if I have not watched your first lectures
Yeah,
video?
if you have not missed the first, you would be getting, the introduction is important because that's where I will, can you see the screen? So what I can do is I will just give you the structure of my talk, what we had done last time, that this is the way we're going to be, are you able to see the screen? So we are into these 10 points, 10 topics that we would be discussing. In the last class, we had finished the first 2. And today we will begin from here. So this is what we did, the meaning of ethics. And we did what are the 3 different kinds of ethics, the meta ethics, the normative ethics, applied ethics. So what I can help you with is, let's just have a look at this. You just have a read this quickly because I'm not going to spend time again because last time we discussed a lot on this. But there are the 3 different branches of ethics, where the first one deals with the moral fundamentals and the value that can be determined from, say, for example, a moral discourse. When you listen to your moral science classes in school, then you have descriptive ethics, where what happens is you are trying to understand the ethical behavior and how I should act in that situation. And of course, the applied ethics is when you are applying a particular school, a particular branch of ethics to a certain action. Okay, so today what I wish to do is, before we begin, I would go back to you and ask you a question, all the participants here. There is a thin line between morals and ethics, right? If you've listened to the last class, we were having some issue. We found that they were overlapping morals and ethics. So I would therefore ask somebody who would like to tell me. Let me open the whiteboard so that we can have a little discussion before we, so that our funders are a little clear. Okay. So here we have a board. I would like somebody in the class to talk about, I'm not able to get my whiteboard. Here it is. When we talk of, there are three things: values. Then we can talk of morals. And we talk of ethics. These three things are seemingly overlapping, and they do in a sense, because many times we tend to get confused between morality and ethics, between value system and ethics, between value system and morals. Are you able to see the whiteboard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now
Yes, sir.
tell me, what is your understanding of values? What is when we say it's in my value system?
It means
Something taught by our parents or
Taught by parents. Okay, taught by parents, the values.
bringing
And morals?
Individual's own perception towards right and wrong.
Morals, perception
morals are customs.
of what is right or wrong. And ethics?
Code of
It's
conduct.
a legal set of rules that is provided by a society or an organization.
Set, provide,
customs and traditions.
set of
Rules and laws that is
Rule.
provided by society and organization.
Sir, I think ethics is the code of conduct that we ought to do, that we ought to follow.
There are customs and traditions that have been set down.
customs and traditions would be a part of ethics, morals, or values.
That would be part of ethics.
Customs and what did you say?
Customs and traditions that have been set down.
Traditions. Okay. Now this is how we are perceiving. You see, the point is, one person says its values are taught by parents. Values come from your customs, traditions, and So this custom and tradition set down, they are more in terms of your values. Each family has a certain tradition, a certain set of values. You come from a business background, you come from a service background, you come from a spiritual background. So you will have a certain sense of values. In other words, values are essentially how individuals look at things. So those values will differ depending on your background. The Christian values will be different from the religious values of the Hindus, and so on. That will be different from Jains and Muslims. So this I'm removing from here. Now when it comes to morals, how would you classify morals? Morals is here, set of rules provided by society. Religion, again, religion comes in here. Obeying, right? So whether I obey, I disregard, these are values. So my morality stems from these values that have either been imposed or provided by my environment, by the society I live in, by the religion I follow. And ethics, rightly, is the code of conduct, very rightly put. It is a code of conduct that is to be followed. It involves something called logical thinking. It involves what I would say as right or wrong, but that right or wrong is in values, right values, wrong values, right morals, wrong morals, right ethics and wrong ethics. But here the rightness depends on certain principles. That's what you're saying as code of conduct. Okay, so now I think we are clear about this. Therefore, I'm going back to my slides. Or did I disconnect? Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So now we just had a little understanding, and I was trying to see the level of the class. So morals versus ethics. Morals come from society. We do not pause to think when it comes to morals. We know what is expected out of us. Respect your parents. Respect the elderly. Help a
So
blind. Yes.
screen on which you are presenting is not visible. Only Google Chrome is visible.
What is not visible?
The screen on which you are
Presentation
presenting.
is not
Presentation
visible.
is not
Presentation
visible.
is not visible. Okay, okay.
Only Chrome is visible.
1 minute.
Yeah, now it is.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for telling me that. So I said morals come from your society, and we know there are certain things expected out of us. We do not have to think, if there's a blind man, I must help him cross the road. There's an old lady, I must offer her a seat. These are not ethics, these are morals from which is you living in a civilized society. You say you are living in a civilized society. Don't you know that you have to respect elderly? Won't you stand up and offer a seat to the lady? So these are things which are taught to us or which we imbibe either through observation or through, uh, it's been taught to us. Whereas when it comes to, so when we say respect to elders, respect to elders, it is a kind of a community-based morality. Now, your learning is coming from a social structure where there are certain beliefs and certain values. But when it comes to ethics, as someone said very rightly, it was a common code of conduct. Hello, please don't use any pen on this. And when I told you earlier, it involves logical thinking. It is situation based. So it cannot be a brush that can be used anywhere and everywhere. How do I decide the rightness or wrongness of a thing? It ultimately is a question of your head versus the heart. Your morals are from your heart. Your ethics come from your head. Thinking. So each situation may create a new set of dilemma, an ethical dilemma for you. And you have to take a call whether what I'm doing is right or what I'm doing is not right. So you will apply that code of conduct in the situation and then take a call on that and come to a decision. Right? So what is the importance of ethics? Why are we studying ethics? We are all going to be working in an organization where value system that you have imbibed from your background, your family, from your society is there. It varies, but each organization will have, each business organization has its own ethics, its own code of conduct. And when you are working for the organization, you have to, it will override, those ethics will override your values. So it's a question of personal gain and self-interest on one hand, where you see businesses, what happens is of two various kinds. You can have ethical business, you can have unethical business. Sometimes the businesses are more concerned about profit making. So what they do is they will put their interests in the forefront, irrespective of the damage it may cause to the society. For example, chemical industries, leather industries, right? They are concerned only about, making profits. So how much of smoke is coming out of the chimneys, how much of environmental pollution it's creating, how much of chemicals are being dumped into the river. That's why today we have reached a state where we are going in for clean the rivers, clean Ganga, because a town like Kanpur, situated on the banks of Ganga, added so much of pollution to the city, as much does a metro like Delhi, which dumps all its waste into the Yamuna. So the rivers are, so that is where the businesses are putting their own welfare against those of the others, regardless of how it is impacting the society. In the same manner, when you're working in an organization as an employee, your personal interests, do they override all other considerations? Then you are an ethical egoist. मेरा जो है फायदा सबसे पहले होना चाहिए, उसके बाद हम देखेंगे औरों को फायदा होता है, मेरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को फायदा, मुझे नुकसान नहीं होना चाहिए. That's why we need to have an understanding of ethics. In the corporate world, selfish interest takes over. When a senior takes away the credit for the work done by the juniors, you feel very cheated. You've been made to work the whole night. You've been given a short time. And who takes the credit? I remember when I was an AGM in the bank, I was in Calcutta office and I got a call from the head office, central office, and the big boss sitting there said, some guy rang up and said, we want this data. I said, it's not possible to give you data, so, in a day's time, because we had to collect it from the banks. And it is not easy to get data from the banks at a short notice because the banks have branches. So banks will get it from the branches, collate it, and send it to us. So I said no to it. And then I got a call from the head of the department saying that, look, we are asking you for a certain data. I know I'm breaking your back, but please don't break mine. So this is the message that I get from my senior. You feel that, okay, I'm going to be working, my staff is going to be working, we're going to run around and get the data for which we're going to get no credit. So sometimes, this kind of a selfish interest impacts your working, and you're not able to involve yourself so much in society, in your organizational work. Now, there are three important theories that you should be familiar with. Your questions many a times, will be based on important theories. So you have the deontological theory, you have the teleological theory, and you have the virtue theory. Of the three, the first two are rather important. Let me begin with the third one, the virtue ethics. It basically judges a person by the character. So what happens is, I'm a branch manager, and a man walks in wearing a dhoti and a crumpled shirt, with a turban on his head, obviously from a village background. And when he comes, I judge, oh, this guy has come from the village. Okay, he doesn't. So I have my own biases, my own understanding of what a person from a village is like. He would be illiterate, he would not be able to talk clearly, he doesn't know what he wants. So he comes and stands, and I look at him and say, "Haan, kya chahiye?" On the other hand, in walks a lady. I can see from my cabin that she's coming out of an expensive car. It's a chauffeur-driven car. She's well attired, well tuned, well heeled. She walks into my cabin, and I say, "Ma'am, please have a chair." So that is my judging the person merely by the character or what I see from outside. I then presume that the moneyed lady is a rich customer I need to attend to. This guy I can dismiss him because he doesn't have much. He will not give me much business. Okay. Now let's go back to, is this clear, the virtue ethics? How we...
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let's understand this famous deontological theory of ethics proposed by Immanuel Kant. Have you heard of Kant, the German philosopher?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Who's that, Bubbly?
No, sir, Rutuja.
Rituja. Okay. So this is one of the most famous, and this is, it means duty. Dio in Greek means duty. You are duty bound to do certain things because they are intrinsically good. So it's about, there is a concept of ought to do. Somebody said it, when you're on the whiteboard, I ought to do this. I am duty bound to do this. This is right and this is wrong. We call it's a duty or a rule-based theory. So it depends on the kind of action. Whether the action is good or bad, it depends on what is the nature of your action. Then I will determine. In the other case, it is the consequence. My action has led to X consequence. My action led to Y consequence. So the teleological, which is consequence based, is just the other way, opposite. It is based on the result, the outcome. I will here. Let's go back. You remember, in Kantian theory, the best example would be. Can anyone tell me an example?
Sir, when a doctor has to follow his duty while he is treating the patient, or code of conduct he is following.
So you are saying that a doctor, when he looks at his patient, the action of the doctor depends on the goodness and badness, how he behaves with the patient or how he treats the patient.
No, no, no. Actually, I'm saying when a doctor treats the patient, he has to follow his code of conduct, no matter.
No, that is ethics. Those are broad ethics. When a doctor is following, when a sailor is on a ship, when a teacher is in the classroom, everyone has their own codes of conduct. When I'm working in the bank, I have been given a set of rules to follow. I was trying to look for an example of Immanuel Kant's rule-based ethics, that goodness or badness is determined by the action. Whereas
the actions of philanthropists.
Action of philanthropists, but I will give an example. I will go to the next slide.
So in military,
the 10 Commandments. Have you heard of the 10 Commandments? Thou shalt not. Thou shalt. Thou shalt love thy neighbor. Thou shalt, whatever. 10 commandments were given to us. They were all duty-bound, deontological approach to human existence, Kantian style. Whereas the goodness or badness is the result of the action. What does Gita say? The most famous line that Arjuna is told by Krishna. Goodness or badness is determined by the results. Don't now here you're going to be fighting your brothers. Doesn't matter. That's not good or bad. It is the result of the outcome. You are fighting against evil. They are not your brothers right now. So what will be the consequences if you don't fight? So your action will be judged based on the consequences. I think these two examples should help you to understand the difference between the two approaches. So Krishna's lecture to Arjun leads to the greatest good for the greatest number. Many people would benefit if you pick up arms now, if you were to fight your brothers. Let's go into a little more detail. So here we are summing it up. This is Kant's theory. They do ask a question on this. So remember, Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher, deontological is derived from the word deon in Greek, which means duty, which means you are rule-bound. Actions that obey these rules are ethical. So if you follow that principle, I shall not steal, I shall not tell lies, I shall love my neighbor. If you follow these rules, you are obeying these rules, you are ethically correct. And if you do not, then you are ethically wrong. So what happens is, because of this, there's an underlying sense of morality here. It tends to change your behavior in certain ways. Do the right thing because this is our duty. What is the right thing is the question. So as we said, I have certain values, which is what I see the situation as an individual. I have certain morals, and therefore my society tells me to do those things in that manner. But the right thing, when I'm in my organization, then the right thing is based on the code that I have been given. When you join the Reserve Bank, for example, when initially we have training. So for 3 months or 4 months of training that you are in staff college, you will be told about the culture of the Reserve Bank. You will be told about the Reserve Bank, the functioning and working of the Reserve Bank. At the same time, certain inputs about the bank, RBI culture. What is expected, what is not expected, what is discipline, what is indiscipline, and what happens if you are, you are found, what kind of penalties can be imposed on you, what kind of a disciplinary action can be taken. So there is a rule of staff regulations. The staff regulation sets down all kinds of rules. When you are on duty, when you are off duty, what kind of permissions do you require, what kind of documents you must submit to the bank on half-yearly basis or an annual basis, and so on and so forth. The long list. And if you are found guilty, if we charge sheet you, then what is the procedure as per according to staff regulations? If you were caught by the police and put behind bars, would it tantamount to moral turpitude? So bank would take a certain action. So all these things are coded, and the right thing there in the bank, it is my duty to follow the codes of ethics of the bank. Right? Any questions? समझ में आया? Arvind? Ashish? Ashish, Babli, are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So चलिए
yes sir, थोड़ा थोड़ा clear हो रहा है अब.
कोई doubt हो तो पूछिए. देखिए, the problem with ethics, let me also. Ethics में थोड़ा सा
सर कभी-कभी बीच-बीच में ना हिंदी में कुछ-कुछ समझा दिया कीजिए.
वो हम अब हिंदी में समझा रहे हैं ना उसको. अब हम समाप्त कर रहे हैं आपके लिए कि ये जो है इमैनुअल कांट जर्मन फिलोसोफर है.
हाँ.
और ये वर्ड ड्यून इज अ ग्रीक वर्ड, और ग्रीक वर्ड में इसका मतलब होता है ड्यूटी. तो हम कार्यबद्ध होते हैं. तो हमने एग्जाम्पल लिया है बाइबल से, जो बाइबल में आपको 10 कमांडमेंट्स बोलते हैं उनको. ये करना है, ये करना है, ये करना है, ये नहीं करना है. तो वो उससे हम अच्छे इंसान बनेंगे. आई मस्ट लव माई नेबर. हमको अपने नेबर से दोस्ती रखनी है, हमको झूठ नहीं बोलना है, हमको किसी को मारना नहीं है, etc. I think there is a slide on 10 commandments. We'll see that. ये रहा, ये देखिए. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Thou shalt not take back the name of the Lord in vain. Honor thy father and mother. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. So these are coming to us from religion. But what I'm trying to say is that this is what your deontological ethics are about. These kind of codes that you get. So already actions have been given to you. आपको पहले से बता दिया गया है, भाई आप ये एक्शन लेंगे तो आप सही रास्ते पर हैं, आप ये एक्शन करेंगे तो आप सही इंसान बनेंगे. इसके कॉन्ट्रास्ट में क्या हो जाता है जब हम देखते हैं, no one who does good work will ever come to bad end, either here or in the world to come. So अच्छा कार्य जो करेगा उसको कभी खराब नहीं होगा. अच्छा कार्य क्या है? According to teleological ethics, अच्छा कार्य वो है जो आपको सबसे ज्यादा लोगों को फायदा होगा. तो आज ये मेरे भाई हैं, कौरव पांडव के बीच में लड़ाई हो रही है, एंड पांडव्स आर कौरव्स आर ब्रदर्स, और मैं ये कहूंगा कि मैं अपने भाइयों से नहीं लड़ूंगा, तो नहीं, आज की सिचुएशन आपसे डिमांड करती है कि आप अपने हथियार उठा के फॉर द लार्जर गुड ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी फाइट इविल. So this is how this works. Don't worry about the action. Do your duty. That's another way of putting it, So this, tell me now, this is teleological or deontological? ये मालूम है ना आपको संस्कृत का फेमस फ्रेज? परमानेवाधिकार
Yes,
से
sir.
वहाँ पर लिख कर रहा था। तो ये
It's deontological.
this is how many agree with you? Her?
Yes, sir. It's deontological because
Deontological.
we do.
No. The
सर ये
second
deontological है
Yes,
सर
yes.
ये
Yes, sir, it
result
is deontological. So we can term it under
Yeah,
deontological.
you're right. It's deontological, and it also shows me that you have actually understood the concept pretty well. Eight paths of Buddhism. So, Shubhantika, yes, these are also like similarly duty bound. You know, that's how it happens. So,
Sir, I have a slight doubt.
yes.
So it's possible then that certain behaviors may not be ethical under the deontological viewpoint, but it would be ethical under the teleological viewpoint then, right? So they both conflict each other.
Absolutely, because these are two theories, you know. So one theory says follow X, one theory says follow Y. So obviously there will be a, you know, if they will clash at that point. Because if it's right from one angle, it may not be right from the other angle. Now, if we, taking your example and coming back to Mahabharata, if he were to follow, Krishna has said both the things. First, he says, don't worry about the actions. Okay? About the fruits. Just do your action. You, लड़ना, अब इस लड़ाई की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं वो यहाँ पर. वो ये कह रहे हैं कि आप अपने काम करिए.
फल की चिंता मत करो, कर्म करते रहो.
Whereas, you know, when he says, when he's ultimately, when they come to the battlefield, और जब अर्जुन हथियार उठाने से थोड़ा घबराता है कि मेरे सामने मेरे भाई हैं, how can I fight? Then, you know, it is an ethical, which it becomes your teleological issue. You have to do for the larger good. You know, what is the end result? Look at the result, not just the action. So you are right. It depends on which line of approach you will take. So coming back to deontological, more elaboration on that. It is concerned with what people do, as I said, not with the consequences of the action. This is very clear to you guys. And it's like saying it is wrong to kill innocent people. It's wrong to steal. झूठ बोलना पाप है. Promise तोड़ना पाप है. हम बच्चे होते हैं जब हम लोग promise लेते हैं अपने पेरेंट्स से. Promise आप मुझको आज Disneyland लेके जाएंगे. You know, we are now using unconsciously this approach. That you must, because you have promised, you must act right by taking me to Disneyland and not breaking the promise. So someone who follows duty-based ethics, हमेशा सही काम करना है, even if that produces harm. So मैं तो सच बोलते हैं ना, ज़्यादा हरीशचंद्र बनने की कोशिश नहीं करो. Sometimes I am going to tell the truth. But when I tell the truth, it may have ramifications which will create more problems. So we are told, hold on, you know, I know you are right, but whether your action in disclosing the rightness will lead to more problems or solving problems. So even Krishna tells Arjun at some point कि अगर झूठ बोलने पे अगर कुछ सच का फायदा होता है तो there is no harm. There is one, you know, I don't remember the exact story, but he does say that you can lie for a larger good.
Yes, sir. To Yudhishthir, he says.
He tells that to Yudhishthir, right? So that is okay. That's nothing. Let's not be judgmental there, because the situation, your one lie will lead to 100 goods, but one truth will lead to 100 deaths. So you weigh the consequences of your action. That is how it is. Now, this is more utilitarian, as the name suggests, that this is more, you know, utilitarian approach. और ये किसने करा था? मिल ने. वो कांट की थियरी थी. ये जर्मी बेंटन एंड स्टुअर्ट मिल. ये लोग 19th century, 18th century के ब्रिटिश फिलोसफर्स थे जिन्होंने इस थियरी को प्रपोज किया था. और इसके बारे में हम लोग we have discussed this. This is just for your, you know, information here. Last sentence is important. in any situation, the right action or policy is the one that will produce the greatest net benefit or the lowest net cost. सबसे ज्यादा फायदा कहाँ पे होगा? नेट क्या है? अपना बैलेंस शीट देखिए, अपने एक्शन का बैलेंस शीट देखिए और टोटल फायदा क्या हो रहा है, क्या नुकसान हो रहा है, आप जज कर लीजिए. Okay, so here is something for you to talk about. Think about, a hunter asks a passerby if he has seen the baby elephant he is chasing to sell to circus, and the passerby shows the opposite direction as to where the elephant actually is. In this scenario, is the passerby morally right?
No,
Please explain.
because that baby elephant, the hunter will kill him.
So he's not, you are saying he's not morally right. By
He's
that
morally
answer,
right. He's morally
yes,
right, actually.
by that answer, it should be morally right. Okay? But is he ethically right?
No, sir.
Why do you say that?
Because killing any person or any animal is not justice. So it is
Okay.
going against the.
So Ashish, you are saying killing anyone, any animal is not good.
Yes,
Thou
sir.
shalt not kill.
Yes, sir.
So आपने कौन सा approach ले लिया?
The ontology.
Yes. Now let's take the other approach, teleological approach. Teleological approach. What has he taken? The hunter ने क्या लिया है? Which is the approach taken by the hunter? Deontological or teleological?
He has not taken deontological, but I'm not sure he's taken theological.
It's theological.
Are you a lawyer? Okay, anybody else? जो नए बच्चे आए हैं क्लास में, please, feel free to participate.
It's teleological only, because he is looking for his profit only.
Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, he's looking for his profit, right? He's lying about.
Who is looking for the profit?
Hunter.
The hunter.
And who is who are we passing judgment on? The passerby. So, which approach has passerby taken?
Passerby has taken theological. That is
very right, very right. Because he is lying. He has told him a lie. If he lies, he is violating one of the commandments. One of those deontological, more right or wrong. Thou shalt not lie. But if he follows the teleological approach, where one lie can lead to saving the life of a baby elephant, then he shall rather lie. So morally, we are told.
Sir, I have a doubt.
1 minute. Morally, we are told in our society, in our value system, that we should tell the truth. Okay? So morally, he is telling a lie, but ethically, he is right if he follows the teleological approach. Yeah, now you ask me the question.
Yeah, sir, how did the passerby know that the hunter was lying?
Not the hunter. We are the judges now. So we have a situation where there is a hunter who's asking a passerby. वो hunting पे जा रहा है, उसको एक elephant का बच्चा दिखा है, उसको वो मारना चाहता है. But he has lost track of the elephant. Okay? So उसको रास्ते में मिला संजीव शर्मा. उसने संजीव शर्मा से पूछा, सर आपने एक एलिफेंट को देखा है कहीं पे? किस तरफ गया है? दाएं गया कि बाएं गया है? अब मुझे as Sanjeev Sharma, I know that the elephant has gone to the right. But if I tell him the truth, then the hunter will run after him and kill him. My value system and my sense of morality says, thou shalt not kill. Killing innocent animals is wrong. This is my value system. So to preserve my value system here, I am using the teleological approach and saying, no, I do not know where he's gone because I don't want him to go and kill, even if it is tantamount to me lying. Are we clear? Is the situation clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, it's a situation. This is why, this is the kind of, there may be certain questions on these lines. So you will have to explain to them there. Why? If you decide to say passerby is morally right, yes, you will say passerby is morally right if we go by the value system of how an individual looks at things, right or wrong, as society has taught him. So he's lying here, and therefore he is morally not right. But if we are talking of ethics, then he has followed the theological approach and he has answered by giving where one lie can lead to saving the life of a baby elephant. Again, the dilemma here is, you see, when I lie, I'm saving the elephant. At what cost? At the cost of the livelihood of the hunter. Because the hunter is going to catch the elephant and sell it to the circus and earn money and live. By lying, by telling him the wrong direction, I have deprived him of that right to live. See, do you see the ethical dilemma?
Yes, sir.
So ethics is very philosophical. That is why it comes under philosophy. And you really have to be very sensitive to get the nuances of the actions. You have to analyze it nicely, logical. So when we talk of ethics versus morality, as I said in the beginning, in morality, we are not applying any rules. We are simply going by what is expected of me, what has been taught to me, what has been ingrained in me. In ethical system, when I apply my ethics to a situation, I am following a code of conduct that is there in a certain situation. That situation could be a business situation in my office, or that could be a situation in the jungle. Each time the action would be different. You cannot have a cut and paste. In deontological, it is a cut and paste job. Whereas here, it is a logical thinking. You got to change the rule, you got to change the scenario, you may have a different answer each time. That is it.
Sir,
Yes.
I have a doubt.
Please.
Vivek here, sir.
Boliye?
Sir, can we explain both the means both situation yes and no in the answer while writing?
Yes, you can. You can say that because here it depends on the question.
Like
and depends on
if they ask in descriptive question first if I write like no, it is not morally right, then I will say yes, it is morally right, and I agree with this point of view, like this. Can I answer like that?
You have to distinguish between moral and ethics first. Okay? So when you say in this scenario the passerby is morally right, no, morally he is not right. Because morals have been derived from his value system, how as an individual he will look at things taught to him by his school, by his parents, by custom, by tradition. And that tells us that lying is immoral. We should not lie. We should always tell the truth, come what may. In that sense, he is wrong. But seen from then you explain the ethical part of it. That he has chosen the teleological approach and lied for a larger cause, because in his sense of ethics, killing anyone, a harmless baby elephant who all has a right to live in the jungles, is ethically not correct, and therefore he would rather lie for the larger good. So the larger good vis-a-vis an individual. Here is an individual hunter. Here is a baby elephant who is also an individual. But the man will be, his job is to catch more and more babies. Why have our tigers died? Today, when we have reached a state of save the tiger, why do we have that dilemma of, I mean, why is there so much of funds being pumped into and campaigns going on and conservationists, having parks, tiger reserves, trying to save tigers? Why? Because at a time when it was morally right for the royalty to hunt, they had the license to go and shoot for their pleasure because they were royalties, and they went on killing for their pleasure. Today we reached a point where they have hunted so many of these tigers that the species was almost extinct. So the government passes a rule that now it is illegal to kill the tigers. So morally, what was right at one point is now morally, legally, ethically, God bless you, is not correct.
So may I change the scenario a little bit?
Yes, please.
If the scenario was that the hunter was asking the passerby for the elephant so that he could hunt it and use the elephant to feed his family who's currently in a situation of starvation, then the question would be, the choice would be, wouldn't that be a greater conflict? Because if the passerby chooses to lie where the elephant went, he is causing harm there to the family of the hunter, and they're starving, which is also equally bad.
Okay, good question. Anyone would like to react to this before I give my views?
I think in that
I
case,
don't think in any case of even of starvation, anyone is going to eat an elephant.
If it was a cow, then
yeah, if the animal were different, it would have been possible. But in this case, it would
No,
not.
let's change it. Let me add to a scenario. Let us insert a hen instead of an elephant, and then we bring in your situation that a hunter by asks a passer, if he's seen a hen, he's chasing to cook dinner for his hungry children. Is that the dilemma now?
So, but if the hunter was hunting because of starvation, he would not have lied to the passerby कि मुझे उसको circus में बेचना है.
Hunter is not lying. No, sir. No. He's changing the scenario. That was who was on the line? Shubhantika?
No, I was Vaishnavi.
Vaishnavi. So Vaishnavi was trying to change the situation, and she was putting us all in a moral bind. So her twist in the tale is, which is what I was trying to make it more twisty by saying, let me make it simpler and say that there is a man. Let's forget the hunter. Let me just change it here itself, if I can. So let's say the hunter is replaced by a man, and if he has seen a chicken, he is chasing to cook for his hungry children. Right? Now, here is the situation which Vaishnavi has created.
Can I try?
Please.
I think it is right in both ways, in morally and also ethically, because generally the society kills chickens for food, so it is morally correct or deontologically okay. And in utilitarian approach also it is correct, because he is trying to kill that chicken to feed his hungry children.
Okay.
So both ways it's right.
Both ways is right.
But I'm asking about the passerby. The passerby lied of the direction. So what would be the passerby?
The passerby has lied.
That is the question I have.
Yes, I get you.
Then the passerby is wrong.
Then passerby is not morally right. That's what we are saying?
Yes, sir.
So now, Vaishnavi, what is your answer to that?
I'm still confused because the passerby Because in the previous scenario, the passerby is saving the life of an elephant.
No, let's
But
say you
here,
are the passerby. You put yourself in that situation.
if I were to put myself in this situation, I wouldn't say anything.
You
I
will
would
pretend,
just,
you will
I
pretend
would
you
just,
are dumb.
I would just pretend I can't speak, because I wouldn't want to make the choice between saving the life of a chicken or the
Okay, let's do
family.
scenario. So I am the guy who's looking for the chicken. You are the dumb girl saying I can't talk. So I'll say, Madam, आप बोल नहीं सकती लेकिन इशारा में बताइए मुझको.
I wouldn't know what to do. I would not know what to do. I would pretend I can't hear also.
If you don't tell me, I'm going to kill you.
She would just say that she don't know. She doesn't have any idea.
But I'm lying there because I know where the chicken went, right?
So she's lying. So we've come to the same situation. You are lying. You are morally right or wrong. That's the question now in this scenario. You are morally wrong is what they're saying. Everyone is saying, because you are depriving this guy who has hungry children in the house, and society doesn't stop you from killing chicken. There is no law which says, there is a law against wild elephants. There's a law against tiger, but the government has not passed any law. No religion has passed a law saying don't eat chicken.
But society says a lot
when
more
we
things which aren't right. Society says a lot more things which are not right.
Yes, so if you're going by moral values, then you will have to go by what society says, what you have been taught. And now, therefore, morally you are lying. That's given. But ethically, you may not be, you are still right. You could be right because you still believe that I would not like to encourage, in this case, a chicken being killed to feed hungry, kill one person to feed another person. Ethically that is not in your code of conduct. Or you can say, well, that's a law of nature. It's duty of, it's the big fish eats the small fish. So the man has to feed his children. He has to do a living. He has to survive. It's a question of survival. Therefore, even at the cost of the life of a chicken, I will tell him where the chicken is gone. There also, you are applying the teleological approach. You've used a logical thinking of what is the best in this scenario. So it becomes a case to case. That doesn't mean every time you will do this, but under the circumstances, you have been able to tell yourself, if I don't tell him the truth, his children will die. If I tell him the truth, one chicken will die. What is the larger good now? For children, for hungry children,
Chicken should die.
Chicken
So
should
you
die.
could use that same argument for telling where the elephant went and why the elephant should be killed. No.
Argument. It's not because there it's one elephant. Even if he tells him, he is to sell it to the, circus. So there is a law which says that animals will not be caught. Wild animals. There's another law which says circuses have been banned to use animals. The PETA is going to come and kill those people. So the short point is, these questions are not very simple. You will have to reason it out, logically work out your answer. In such case studies, when they give you a case study, read it from all the angles, from the value angle, from the moral angle, from the ethical angle, then come with your answer. Why? See, there is nothing right or wrong. It depends on which school of thought you've taken. So say that. This is
Sir,
right.
can I speak something?
Please.
Sir, just as you said that these are multiple answers are possible, but if it is a descriptive exam, then we can write different opinions. For an exam like FCI AGM, where multiple choice questions will be asked, what can be the answer in this case study type of questions? As the case studies will be asked, it is written in the syllabus.
Yes, that is why I'm saying so. That is why I've given this case study to you people. That such a question will have to be analyzed from the value judge point of view, from the moral point of view, from the ethical point of view. You will have to give all the angles. You will have to decide which approach you have taken. You know, you can argue it from the deontological approach and say X. You can answer from the teleological approach and say Y answer is right. So you will have to let the examiner know which school of thought you are following, right? Which will show what is he testing? He is basically testing your understanding of these two schools of thought.
So that means we can take any approach and it is not necessarily wrong.
No, it depends how well you are able to justify using that approach. No, when I use an approach, I should be able to dovetail. I should be able to dovetail my answer with the approach. ये नहीं हो कि आपने कहा हमने deontological approach ले लिया है, but you are not able to show why it is right. So you can also give an answer using both the approaches. That if I were to take deontological approach, then the answer is yes. If I were to take the other approach, the answer would be no. You can give a very comprehensive answer. देख लीजिएगा मार्क्स कितने का क्वेश्चन है, आप कितने, अगर वो 2 मार्क्स का है तो आप फिर एक स्टैंड लीजिए, अगर वो 10 मार्क्स का है यू आंसर इन बोथ वेज, इट विल बी हेल्पफुल. Akansha is saying we cannot give an answer which is right for everyone. It depends on the societies and our personal values. Yes, Akansha, that is what I'm saying also. Values and morals are, that's why we started this class with understanding these three things: ethics, morals, values. Once these three things are clear to us, while answering a case, you will have to bring in all these three and tell them how they are working here. So from the value system, he's holding values that thou shalt not kill. From the moral angle, thou shalt not lie. So I am bound by both my moral and my legal values. But when I take my ethical approach, I am following the teleological approach, where the larger saving one animal means saving hundreds of similar animals from being killed. I'm lying for the sake of larger good. That's how I have given my answer. Okay? Okay, now what is the time? It's 10 past 1. Where are we? Okay, this is the virtue ethics, which I had said in the beginning. We've discussed this. Just have a look at it. The virtue ethic is judging the person by a character rather than his behavior. So you prejudge, you are biased. Okay, the person's morals, he's a thief. Can you trust a thief? You know, you have a servant in the house who has been caught stealing. Can you trust him? So you will prejudge him. I remember we were interviewing candidates for an AGM post. We were sitting in IIM Bangalore, and we were looking for a good candidates at lateral recruitment. So this boy walks in, you know, he was like as if he jumped out of the bed and come to the interview. So when he walked into the class with the unruffled hair, his shirt coming out and the belt loose and unpolished shoes, you know, I looked at him, I gave him one look, I looked at my interviewer, and I just kind of, we had this understanding, why should we even interviewing this person, you know? I was applying virtue ethics here. Without even judging him, without even interviewing him, I was going by his behavior, which I thought we can say was, you know, not called for when he comes for the interview. But when he sat and opened his mouth and we asked him questions, there was no reason why I couldn't take him. It would have been unethical to reject him only on the grounds of his looks, you know. So it says one weakness of virtue ethical theory is that it does not take into consideration a person's change in moral character. That is where the question comes when I gave you the example of the servant who had been caught stealing. He is a good servant. He has been loyal to you. He has been helpful to you. He has been your man Friday. He's been working with you for 10 years. He's never given you a chance to, you know, think that he is bad. But unfortunately, you found that your mobile phone was missing And it so turned out that it was found with him. Now you can say he is a thief. All his past good character has been thrown to the dustbin, and you are judging him by one action. You're also not taking into account the circumstances under which he behaved like that. Morally, lying, stealing is bad. Yes, I also know. Did he steal because he wanted to show his girlfriend that he has an Apple mobile? I'm telling you a real life situation actually. He was, again in our bank. This guy, he was working for me and for my MD, and we really, it was a sad case where we judged him, and all his, whatever good that he had done, whatever reputation he had done, it was lost because the police caught him and said he's a thief. But the weakness of this ethical theory is a person can change. So perhaps till yesterday he was good. He stole the apple not because he wanted to impress somebody, but perhaps he was running short of money, or perhaps we do not know the real reason why he stole the money, the mobile phone. Maybe he thought he could sell and get some money instead of ask. He had a choice between asking us for a loan, which he thought nobody would give him 60,000 rupees. So it would be easier to buy. But at the same time, he stole but did not sell. Now see the difference. I steal and I sell. I steal, but I hold back. For a month, my phone has been missing for a month. If I was really a bad guy, I would have already sold it. But the person's morals held him back. And he thought, I'm working for Sir. I've stolen his phone. Can I actually cheat on him? So he decided to go and place the phone under the bed. When a search was done, they found the phone under the bed. When the police gave him 2 slaps on his face, he confessed he had put it there. Why did he put it there? Because he didn't have the heart to go and tell us that, sir, I had stolen. But he had been moral enough to put it back there. So this is if I were to judge him from this point of view, perhaps I may be making a mistake. People change and people act based on, so my judgment, my ethical value here will depend on the nature of the situation. The code of conduct of stealing, which I have told my servants, you shall not steal, will be applied based on a case-to-case basis. It has been stolen, but for what purpose? Either the purpose he stole was for his mother's cancer treatment, or whether he stole to impress his girlfriend. That is how you will have to distinguish between the action and the thought you have to take. How can we define character unless we observe his or her behavioral action? No, defining character means, that's what I'm saying, you are prejudging the person. No. Let's take Hindi films. I'll give you a very classic example. It's a little funny, but it's a personal. Again, I have a lot of these examples which I relate to. When I was young and I was unmarried, and my mother would tell me, that no, I think I should give you another example here. Let's take a movie like, have you seen Pakiza or have you seen Umrao Jan? These are old movies. There was a phase in the Hindi cinema where there was a lot of stories, social stories on the red light areas. Okay, so where everyone judges the heroine who is a dancer, who's a nautch girl on a kotha. She is being judged based on her reputation as a dancer. And from that reputation arises her morality. So if she's a dancer, she's a bad woman. And she must die. Or nobody will marry her. Or the hero will not marry her. Or the society will reject her only because... so when you are asking me this question, how can we define character unless we observe? So even when they have observed that she is dancing, Abhishek, I'm judging her by only because she's a dancer. So she's a dancer, she's bad. So this is where we try to be virtuous and judge people, which is not, so this theory is a little weak. Therefore, I would say that those two theories that we're talking about are more important to us. Okay, so it's already 1:15, and let me see if I've. Yeah, there is another dilemma here, but it will take us time. Would you like to do one more case? Would you like to do one more case, or should I wind up the class and carry over in the next class?
No, take one more case, sir.
Okay, so let's do this case. There is a student who's very brilliant. I hope everybody is with him, yeah? I'm going by one person's...
Yes, sir, you can take one more.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good. So there is a student who's very brilliant in his studies and has earned scholarship on various levels. If he's caught stealing medicine or money, okay, there are some grammatical mistakes from where I copied it, but don't mind that. There should be a full stop here instead of comma.
Sir, you are not sharing the screen.
Sorry.
Screen is not being shared.
Yeah, I disconnected. One minute. Just let me make a little correction here, then I'll share the screen with you. Of course, you can see it, but okay. So let's see what this case is. There's a student who is very brilliant in his studies and has earned scholarships on various levels. If he is caught stealing medicine or money, then the cops can go easy on him, giving him a chance to explain the reason for the act of stealing. And if the act is justified, leave him with a warning. Here, the morals, reputation of the character is taken into account instead of plainly looking at the act only. This is exactly what we have been just discussing. This is another example. Any comments on this, or it's clear?
This is by virtue theory, right?
Yes, by virtue theory, the police is... no, this is not the virtue theory here. Virtue theory, so he's a bad man. He's a thief. But it is the utilitarian approach, the teleological theory, where the police is not only looking at the moral of the guy, but also looking at the morals, the reputation of the character is taken into account instead of plainly looking at the act. We are not only... Yeah, you are right. If you see it from that angle, it's virtue theory. Because he's a brilliant student, let him go. Right?
Yes, he's a good character.
But there's another part to it. If you don't apply the virtue theory and you apply the deontological theory, then what happens?
Then also it's correct.
Also it is correct, sir.
No, then चोरी करना पाप है. तो चोरी करा है तो you may be a brilliant student, you may be cracking IIT and RBI, but boy, you are stealing, so you are bad, and therefore you should be punished. That's your deontological theory says that. But
theologically we are right, no? Deontologically we are wrong. Like
so exactly. So we're examining from all the theories now. So we've seen the virtue part. So virtue judged him because he's brilliant. तो कोई बात नहीं, चोरी कर लिया तो क्या हुआ बेटा, brilliant लड़का है मेरा. Okay, second point says you may be brilliant as hell, but sorry, a thief is a thief is a thief, and therefore you should be punished. Deontological. And then the third one, teleological, says, well, you may be brilliant, that's nothing to do with the act. Your brilliance in studies has nothing to do with the act of stealing. Let us examine you in isolation and understand that you were caught stealing. Question is, why did you steal? And the reason that he is given is justified. Police feels okay, he stole for a reason which can be justified. So they let him go. Here, they have not taken into account his brilliance. They have not taken into account the morality of right and wrong in the deontological sense of stealing being a lie, but they have gone by the situation, by the logical thinking of what is right or wrong based on applying certain principles here. Okay? So this example can be seen from three angles also. It all depends on the question that is posed to you. So now the problem with the utilitarian approach, the teleological approach, are these shortcomings. That, it is very difficult sometimes to make a cost benefit analysis, larger good and of the larger benefit and this thing. So sometimes you may be wrong in making a prediction. When I gave the example of killing Kauravas because for the larger good, well, it was Krishna who said it. So that example is kind of, philosophical, example. In real life, it may sometimes become difficult for us to predict the action of, whether we are judging it correctly or not. Now, it also implies that all goods can be traded for equivalent of each other. Goods, but our values are not goods. Non-economic goods like life, freedom, quality, health, these cannot be valued. That, value in the sense of quantified. So it becomes a little bit of a dilemma for people who may not agree to accepting the, when I say the teleological approach is right, they will say, well, it depends. It depends based on quantification. Okay, with this, this is only your talk is. Vivek, you are coming after a long time. I was just thinking of you this morning that I don't hear your voice anymore. Here you have answered something. Yeah, it might work as a lesson for life. So that is what the police thinks, that if I let him go, if I use my teleological theory and I come to the conclusion that the boy did an act out of necessity, out of survival, it did not really impact the lives of so many people, and if I punish him, he will become a hardened criminal. So that is the kind of logic the police is using. And I, as a policeman, would be responsible for turning a young, brilliant boy into a lifelong branded thief. Let him go. That is the way ethics have been applied here over moral and over value system. And I have used an approach which justifies my action. Juvenile theory is based on this theory. Yes. Juvenile theory says give them a chance. Give the person, he's too young at this moment to know what is right or wrong. He has not been able to imbibe the values or the morality, and he is not aware of the ethical implications because he is still, juvenile. So we give him the benefit of doubt. In the example that you shared is a virtual ethics. Prakhar, we just explained, you can see it from three angles. I've just explained that. Yes. Conte has already explained that. So I think now, number 5, ethical issues in organization. We'll stop here, and number 5 onwards, that is, we have finished today 3 and 4, the morals versus ethics and the theories. So in the next class, we will talk of the organization and ethics in various departments of, we will be here, somewhere here.
Sir, can you explain deontological one again with the example that you shared?
Sir, can you kindly share the PPTs?
Yes, yes, PPT will be shared. It's already there. It's on the dashboard, I think. I shared this PPT in the last week itself.
So I actually checked in the ethics part of it, but I couldn't get, I guess. In the first class of ethics.
No,
I
first
just
class you wouldn't have got it because that was the day I taught it. Then I
Yeah.
think I sent it. So the class recording went that day, but the PPT was sent, I think, day before yesterday, because I had to make some changes in the
Alert from Google Chrome. Rakshasarpataya MIBs.
Sorry for that reminder. So can we now, I think it's already 1:30, and can we just discuss your doubt about deontological in the next class?
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, my request is, sir, while in the next class, sir, please revise the deontological, theological one time.
Okay, we shall
Please revise.
do that. Just remind me at the beginning of the class, you are?
Prajwal, sir. Prajwal.
Just remind me once again that second. So that
Revise.
Now and this is for those newcomers. I started the class last time with this: what's right, what's truth? Within infinite myths lies an eternal truth. Who sees it all? Who? Varun the god has 1,000 eyes. Indra has 100. You and I only 2. So, what are our eyes to judge what is right and what is the truth? Our values, our morals, and our ethical system. Right. So, I stopped class here. I think it's been a long class. PPT, I will remind them, Hemant and Harshit. I shall remind them to put the PPT. Definitely, I think you have understood. Sure, we will. We hopefully you should be able to get the PPT today.
Alert from Google Chrome. Ravi Ahiwa.
So it was interesting class. Priyam is saying, I'm glad to hear that, because normally the philosophy classes are very boring for young generation today who really do not have the time to go into the nuances of philosophy, and it's a subject which not many people study these days. But certainly the banks lay a lot of importance on this, because they still feel that when you come to an organization, you must be aware and familiar with what ethics are all about.
Alert from Google Chrome.
So goodbye and have a good day and enjoy your lunch. You can, yes, next time you can ask me.
So what about the reading material? Like we'll get the PPT or we have to go through some books?
Well, you can certainly go through some books if these things are not clear to you.
No, not like that, but certainly like to brush up the things at the end of the exam. So we'll get some kind of notes from.
There will be notes. Yes. We are.
Alert from Google Chrome.
We are, in fact, preparing notes on this subject. So you would be in a position. You will be getting notes on the dashboard surely.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I think I will just maybe remind them once again that the students have been asking for notes, but I know that the notes are being readied only because of Corona situation, that we are having a little bit of a time lag. Bear with it, please.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alert from Google Chrome.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Can you name any book for reference?
Offhand, I cannot give you a book, but next class I will.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sonia's question?
Yes, sir.
Sonia wants to know book. Okay. Some book which is easy enough, right?
Yeah, sir.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Most welcome.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Chetan.
Sir, the live lectures are uploaded next day in the evening. So can it be uploaded? Can these lectures be uploaded on the same day?
You know, actually, live sessions are loaded based on how fast I send my recording to them. So normally I send it after the class, but sometimes one forgets. So if we today's session should be loaded by tomorrow, if I'll send it now right after the class.
Okay.
And all those first comers, please go through the first day's lecture that we had done, which you missed. Okay. So I'm ending the meeting for all.